Hi, I wanted to make this video because I think it's finally time to start cracking down on the lack of response, the non-response of my former client, Soph Mosca. For the past 2 years, I've endured significant losses, personally and in business. I've also endured large amounts of suffering, sadness, and stress. And I think it's time to start showing people what I've been saying the last few years. Soph Mosca has ruined my life. I'm in a position now where it's impossible for me to recover on my own. And every day it's getting worse. Every day I'm putting out fires. Every day my situation is getting exponentially worse. And now I'm at a turning point where it's going to get significantly much worse than what I've been dealing with the last 2.5 years. And it's very obvious to me that she has no intention of ever owning up to what she has done to not only me, but my family. So I'm going to start making this very clear. I have no joy in doing this. I have no pleasure in doing this. But by showing people what I've been dealing with or how she has treated me when I worked with her, I think it would give people more of an insight as far as what I've been dealing with and why I have been saying those things for the last couple of years. Now, I've never said I was perfect. I've made mistakes. I've apologized for those mistakes. I've owned up to those mistakes, both publicly and privately. Soph Mosca has never done that, ever. So everything that I'm going to show, she has access to, I believe, hopefully. And if she does see this video, not only do I welcome, but I challenge her to share her side of the story. Will she do it? I doubt it. Will she see this video? Probably. Will she address it? Probably not. But I'm giving her the opportunity to share her side of the story. Now, I had to pull up these messages for years back. And as I went back, the further I went back, the more stressed I became. I was looking for something very in particular regarding a conversation that she and I had that clearly shows how obsessed with herself she is. But in doing that, going back, I began to feel immediately stressed out of how she treated me and how she talked down to me and how she manipulated me. And probably, if not most importantly, how she took out her insecurities on me. So I'm going to share these text messages. I signed no non-disclosure agreements, so tough cookie. I'm going to share these text messages. I'm going to give context. And I challenge her to give her side of the story. Now, as I said, I'm not perfect. This is not scripted. I'm not reading off a teleprompter. But I think it's time because, like I said, she is determined to shove this under the rug and pretend as if I never existed, even after everything that she's done to me. I am suffering. I am in a really deep hole. And if I do get out of this, it's going to take me the rest of my life. So let's get right to it. I'm going to give context. I'm going to share the messages. They're going to be up on the screen. And I want people to take a look at them subjectively. And obviously, as a disclaimer, there are much more text messages that I'm not going to show because there's literally tons of them. And what I will show are the ones that I think are good indications as far as how she treated me, how she viewed me. Um, and this is very unfortunate for the simple fact that this was a person that I cared about. This was a person that I stayed up long nights working for, that I made sacrifices for, sacrifices of many of which that she, to this day, has no clue that I made them. I made a lot of sacrifices. I gave up my own money. I really thought that she was great. At least in the beginning, I thought that. And contrary to what she has said in the past, I've never once, ever once said to her that she's nothing without her, at the time, her girlfriend. Never crossed my mind. It was completely fabricated by her. And it led to the demise, the untimely and ultimate demise of my career and my business because of her insecurities. So let's get right to it. So the first screenshot that I have up here, for context, because I can't show you all the messages, I posted a photo that I thought was memorable to me, and that it's pretty much it, of someone that I care about. At the time, this was her ex-girlfriend, or her at the time was her girlfriend. And she was complaining that I would bring her up all the time. So I said to her, I'm not going to bring her up anymore. You're right. Fair point. Doesn't make sense to bring her up in conversation, especially for work conversations. So here you see me responding because she was saying something about it. Again, I don't get why you're bringing up Avery again. After you told me to stop bringing her up. Now that's all you do. I'm not going to fall for your tricks. Her tricks being that she was trying to get something out of me to get me to slip up. That's what that was. She was like, if I were to post those online right now, I bet the cops would show up at your house. This is so inappropriate and I'm not putting up with it any longer. It's literally a photo of someone sitting down on their phone that I work with. Literally, that's the photo. And she's over here trying to manipulate me into thinking that it's inappropriate and that she's not going to put up with it any longer, even though it's none of her business. And I said, I haven't brought her up in a while, and that's all you do now. Okay, Soph. And then here she says, you're effing obsessed with her. It's so scary. Again, she's the one bringing her up, trying to bait me. Essentially, that's what she's doing. She's trying to bait me. And I said to her, please just stop talking to me about Avery, and please stop trying to control me. I'm not your pawn. And then she goes on to say, why would you post a photo of someone you don't want to talk to ever again? So this is where I'm going to cut this off. For context, what she's saying there is, at the time, tensions were high. She had convinced her partner of these things, that the very things that she's saying, that I'm obsessed. She had convinced her of that. The relationship was deteriorating quickly. So at the time I was saying, I don't know, this is ridiculous. Like turning people against me when it wasn't true. It was completely fabricated in her head. She was feeding these seeds to her partner. And eventually her partner believed it. I challenged her to say something about that. And she's going to say, she can tell you herself that this is true. It's not true. It's not true. She convinced her of that, and now this person genuinely believes that. If they want to believe that, they're every right entitled to believe that, but the truth is that it's fabricated. It's not true. I care deeply about my clients, and I never once had a thought in my mind of anything other than a work relationship and a friendly relationship as people. Nothing more. And to add to that, I cared about them very much. Very, very much. And they took that and they twisted it into something that makes me seem predatory and all that. Again, fabricated. Now, this next one. Okay. This next one right here for context. I was telling her of a particular thing that she was doing that it wasn't a good idea. I think what it was regarding outfit choices. And I said to her, professionally, I don't think it's a good idea to show, to dress down for something like this. And she's like, and then she's like, already getting offended by it and all that. So she's telling me, tell me why it's such a bad idea, Dylan. And I break it down very professionally here. You can see it for yourself. I put, number one, your customers will be paying a fortune in shipping. Actually, no, now that I think about it, this is actually related to shipping for international orders when she had her brand, her clothing brand. This was regarding the shipping for international. I told her, if this is something that I've done in the past, it's very tricky. You can get in trouble for it if you do it wrong. And I said to her, it's not a good idea. I don't think you should do it, at least in the first batch. I'm outright telling her that this could be problematic, as any manager should. It's a bad idea. And at the time, we were not set up to be doing international transactions. So legally, it would be a mess. So she's telling me, she's asking me, why is it such a bad idea? And I say here, I break it down for her very respectfully. Your customers will be paying a fortune in shipping costs. Nothing wrong with that, as far as how I worded it. You'll need to submit a customs report with every order, which is more work, and it's something that has to be done carefully. Number three, with USPS, it's now illegal to ship out merchandise through first class. Merchandise, though, first class mail. So now you're forced to use priority international, which costs a lot of money. 5, your customers will have to pay not only shipping, but a customs fee and a VAT on the value-added tax. If you're from Europe, you know what that is. When it arrives at their country, adding more to the cost. So they have to pay that on top of what they already paid to retrieve their item. 6, your item can get stuck at customs for weeks, if not months, and will be out of your control. So if customers are complaining, if your fans are complaining about where's my order and it's sitting at customs for 6 months, you can't do anything about it. 7, you'll have to pay a lot of money for returns if a customer asks for a refund or exchange. The shipping return will cost more than the actual item, will result in you losing money. Again, trying to protect her. 8, there are legal and tax complications when shipping internationally, specifically to the European Union. 9, there was a reason that the stuff for blank, I'm not going to say that name, that you mailed out to go to blank like 4 months later, more than probably it was being held at customs for that whole time. So an order had shipped out for something that we knew, and it took 4 months for them to even get it after it was shipped out. So there's a long list of things here. Number 11, I'll skip to the end. A lot can go wrong, and it will cost you a lot of money. And I said to her, I'm not telling you it's a bad idea to ruin your day. I tell you because I'm on your team. Fair, right? And the way I worded it, it's very straightforward. Nothing wrong with that. She's like, I don't want easy. And I'm like, what? She's like, I don't care if it's more complicated or hard. Now I'm discouraged, and this is what she's saying. Now I'm discouraged and feel like I'm not capable of doing it, even if I wanted to. My entire life, I've been told I'm not going to be able to do this or that. That is impossible. That's the last thing I need is another person in my life telling me what I want isn't a good idea or possible. It really bothers me when you try to control every single thing with all these negative things constantly. So I'm over here trying to protect her. And I think at one point I said to her, if you're going to do this, at least try it on your second batch. Wait to see how the first one goes. So I'm giving her all these reasons as why I think it's a bad idea for her to, not do this. And I give her all the reasons why. Just she's going to have a headache with it. No one wants to deal with that. And then I said to her, Soph, I'm not being negative. I'm being realistic. More merchandising firms outsource on the second leg in EU, European Union, who can handle that for them in the European Union to avoid these complications. I just don't want you to make these mistakes. And then she's like, it's the way you go about it. You're so demeaning. Please tell me what part of that was demeaning. What part of that was demeaning? Demeaning, and then this is what I responded with. Demeaning is you telling me that you didn't ask for my opinion when we were supposed to be on the same team. Now, then she says, but I just didn't ask for it. And this is what I respond. And you say that all the time, and I have to just shut up. Well, I have the right to not want to hear your opinion because I know that you're going to be discouraging, negative and discouraging. So, for context again, she at one point literally told me to not give opinions, to shut up, to speak when I'm spoken to, as her manager. So, the whole job of a manager or an agent is to provide consultation, to provide feedback, to provide advice, professional advice. And ultimately, it's up for the talent to decide whether they want to take that advice or not. If an agent says, you should do this movie, the agent can't force you to do the movie. You have to decide that for yourself. The agent could say, these are the terms. This is what you get out of it. This is how much money it is. But they can't force you. It's all advice, feedback, consultation. That is literally the job of an agent or manager. And guidance. She literally told me that I can't do that. So what's the point of having a manager if I cannot speak? If I can only speak when I'm spoken to? Like this is some sort of dictatorship. And then so she's like, because I know you're going to be negative and discouraging. I'm not being negative and discouraging. I'm being realistic. And on top of that, I'm trying to save her a headache and problems and from losing money. And I said, again, I'm not being negative or discouraging. I'm being realistic. This part I already said. I just don't want you getting into trouble, Soph. Again, I'm not being negative or discouraging. And then she says, I'm just letting you know, shoving your opinions down someone else's throat isn't going to make them want to hear what you say in the future. Okay, so what if I never said anything and let you do it, then you get into a lot of trouble. Who does it come back to? Me. You know why? Because when things go wrong, I'm the one that blame. When they do something that I specifically said, this is a bad idea, and things go wrong, it's my fault. That's how it was. I'm just looking out for you. Sometimes I think you overlook that. And then she says, sometimes I think you forget that everyone is entitled to their own opinion and that not everyone wants the easy way in. I like doing things by the book. This is what I said. I'm the kind of person who follows rules and respects the law. It's not about having the easy way in or having the longer way. It's just that since you were just getting started off as a small business, you cannot be getting crazy with international shipping. Again, also, we were not set up for that. I actually can if I want to. Yeah, but keep in mind that you're accepting payments we're accepting payments on your behalf, so we were accepting those payments on her behalf. She had requested that. So my opinion should be heard. So our business was accepting these payments, so I have say in it because of that reason. And then she's like, I'm not cool with that being dangled over my head as a power move, so I'll look into doing it without your help. So, anyways, you kind of get what I'm getting at here. She basically ends the conversation a little bit more further down when she says, like, have a good day, I'm done. You can't decide my point. So in this particular situation, I'm trying to save her a headache. I'm trying to save her money. I'm trying to save her from having problems with legal and tax compliance. Again, we were not set up for this. And she's over here saying that I'm being demeaning towards her. It's another example. And let's see what else we got here. Let's see. So this other one right here, for context, a brand had hired her to do something. I'm not going to name the brand or anything, the details regarding that. Um, they had given her a brief to do, to look at, to make the video off of. Um, and she made the video. She was always very punctual. She was always very quick with it. Always did a great job. And she sends the video in. We get feedback, the brand saying, we need these changes. And when they ask for changes that clearly indicate that you did not follow the brief, because a lot of times they never fully read it, they just skim through it, especially when it comes to legal compliance, they send back notes and say, we need you to make these changes. So this is what I say, we were already having this discussion, so it goes further back. And I'm saying to her, it's clear that they think that you didn't do what they were going for if they asked for changes. And she says, how do you not know? I've told you countless times. I did exactly what the brief asked, literally read from it pretty much like a script. They're asking for me to expand, but I have one tiny brief about the company and not her information. I've been saying this to you for a week or more, but you've never listened. I'll talk on that in a second. You say you're here for me and that we're on a team, but then if that's true, you need to help me out and do your job and not give me so much attitude and passive-aggressive remarks, especially now when my father's in the hospital and nearly lost his life. So, real quick on that. When my father is in the hospital and nearly lost his life, I had a very similar experience in the hospital, and you didn't care. So, think about that. She was saying that she's been telling me this for weeks. That is not true because, well, we've discussed it many times, and I've told her what the situation is, but she refuses to listen to me because, like you said, she does not want my opinion. So I'm not giving her my opinion. I'm giving her the opinion of the brand, of the company that hired her. And then I say to her, okay, I'm not going to sit here and let you bash me again. I'll figure it out on my own. Have a great day. She's like, are you kidding me? Did you even read what I just read, Dylan, or what I just said, Dylan? And I said to her, because I'm trying to avoid problems, I say, I'm not going to argue with you, so you just text me when you aren't doing that. Because I was trying to de-escalate, because I already see that she's getting frustrated with something that is not with my opinion, it's the opinion of the client. So that is another example. And this is another example over here. I believe this is a follow-up to that. And I said to her here, okay, but they really need it today. They mentioned that they really can't wait any longer. And then she said, Dylan, hospital, dad, inside, nearly dead, which obviously is a valid reason. And this is where it gets tricky, and this is where I want people to pay attention. I said to her, I know, I'm just telling you what I was told. And then she's like, why don't you explain to them what's going on? And I said to her, how was I supposed to know that you want me telling people your business? So in other words, clients like their privacy. If I'm over here telling people, clients or brands, that that this is a very personal problem, they may not like that. And there's been multiple situations or moments when Soph told me that she does not want her personal life being put out there. She actually had a problem with someone that we were working with that was doing that, and she explicitly sent me an audio message regarding that person, and that she doesn't want her personal life being put out there. So I'm trying to keep it, I didn't want to put her personal life out there, because obviously it's a very traumatic thing to see your dad in the hospital. So like, how was I supposed to know that she wants me to tell him that? It's a very personal thing. It has nothing to do with work. So I said to her, how was I supposed to know you want me telling people your business? And then she responds with, first off, watch how you're speaking to me. What did I say that was off? I'm just pointing out the obvious, that how am I supposed to just assume? You want me to assume that you want me to tell people your business? No, I would get your explicit permission to do that. And if you tell me, hey, you should tell him that my dad's in the hospital, I'll gladly do it. And then she's saying, secondly, I'm telling you to do so now. Another example here. I believe this is also another follow-up. I'm saying to her, I'm saying it's because I'm saying this because I'm on your team, and you always seem to forget that. I had a lot of problems with her, which she thought I was against her. She thought I was trying to argue with her and all that. And I kept saying to her, I'm on your team. I'm on your team. Don't forget that. And then she says here, okay, you honestly have no idea what is going on outside of your own head. So I'm done with you. Ha 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 ha. Have a good one. I expect an email by 5. She expects an email by 5. This is where I get a little bit witty because I'm getting frustrated with her. I say to her, I could say the same for you. And then she says, LOL. And I say to her, also, please don't give me a time deadline. That's not how this works. Because she's over here basically demanding that I do this by a certain time. Which, if I say something like that, if I give her a deadline, then obviously that's my responsibility. But she was over here trying to direct me how to do my own job. And this is where, when she responds here, yes, it is, you work for me. So I told her that because for some reason, when people hear manager, they think that, oh, that's my boss. In this world of influencer representation or talent representation, the manager is hired by the talent. So in this case, she is my boss, but I made that clear because they had some misunderstanding early on that they were working for me when they were not. So she says you work for me because I've clarified that for her so that she knows more about the space that she works in. Nice try. I tried being nice. Doesn't work. I'll play your game now. You're awful to work with. I'm so over this. So as you can see here, I keep telling her, I'm on your team. I'm on your team. I'm here to help you. And she's over here turning things against me, making me look bad, making it seem like I'm trying to make her day harder. So that's another example right there. This example right here, she says to me, is there a reason you're ignoring my question? This conversation is productive without the side comments. And I said to her, I already answered your question. Oh, I must have not gotten the message. What did you say? I said that you were instigating an argument when I'm trying to avoid arguing with you. So I explicitly told her multiple times, I don't want to argue with you. I'm trying to de-escalate. I want to have a productive conversation with you. And she's over here trying to manipulate me into falling into her trap of making me look like the bad guy by trying to instigate an argument or trying to instigate a reaction out of me. And she says, I'm trying to have a professional conversation and I'm asking you questions regarding that. So I think you're mistaken me wanting to know what's going on in my job with me accusing you of not working. So she was accusing me of not working very indirectly, I would say, almost like I'm not doing anything when I would literally spend days working inside an office or working just in general, taking no breaks while they were on vacation in Hawaii and wherever else they were going. I was alone working for them. That's what I was doing. I gave up a lot. They didn't ask me to do that, but I did it for them. And I said to her, we can have a professional conversation. We can't have a professional conversation if you talk down to me. Tell me how to do my job or worse, not listen to my advice. I told you that no one likes unsolicited emails, and there's a way to go about it without outright saying work with me. So what I'm talking about here is basically she wanted me to reach out to hundreds of people, hundreds of brands, saying, hey, work with me. So for people that don't know what it's like working in this space, or even just in general, you don't just go up to someone and say, hey, I have followers on social media, give me money. Brands plan out their budgets in advance. They don't just say, yeah, sure, I'll give you money here. So what I was telling her was that that's not productive to do. You can reach out and say maybe that you want product or that you want to have a relationship, but it was basically what they wanted me to do was to secure work. And I said to them, there's a time and place for that. So yeah, and then I say to her, I don't say these things to screw you over and or to not get you in front of brands. I'm saying because I'm on your team. Again, I'm on your team, and you always seem to forget that. And then she says, okay, this I already said actually. I'm sorry. And I said to her, yeah, but you never said it had to be done on that time. So I'm referring to a specific time that she was asking for that to be done. There was no specific time. And she's like, I'm sorry you feel that way, but that is how I'm asking you to go about it. I mean it very much implied, so you must have not picked up on that. And I say to her, one, you're being very rude again, and are also talking down to me again. Two, I'm not going to do something that jeopardizes me, the business, and all of our clients just because you want something done a certain way, especially not going to ruin the relationships that took me years to build. And she says here, Dylan, I'm not being rude. I'm being stern because I want you to understand the importance of the situation. Secondly, reaching out to companies in order to find brand deals is very much something that you are responsible for doing so long as we are held by contract. So in this case, I will reach out to them on my, hang on one second. Yeah, I lost that message. Yeah. So in that particular conversation, she wanted me to do things her way, even if I told her that it wasn't really productive and that's not really how life works, where you just go up to someone and say, give me money. Here's another example. So typically, well, not typically, the standard in this industry is that if a manager or an agent pays for something, that's whether it be a flight or hotel, anything like that, it's a billed reimbursable expense back to the client. So meaning the client, aka in this case the influencer, has to pay back the manager for that, reimbursement for like the flight or whatever. It's pretty standard, pretty common. I've waived I've waived thousands and thousands of dollars. I believe the first year or so I waived like $30,000+. First 2 years, $30,000+ of reimbursable expenses for the sake of trying to help my clients, for the sake of helping them advance at my expense, because I cared for them. And I was never doing it for the money. So I would pay for yearly headshots or yearly photos for their media kits so that we can use to pitch the brands. And at one point, she was actually demanding things from me and saying that it's my job to do that. I'm like, technically, it's not my job to be paying for this. I mean, I'm only doing it because I want to help. I want to contribute. I want to invest in you guys. Telling her that the outfit that you chose for this is not, I don't think it's appropriate because you're a lifestyle creator. We're trying to appeal to lifestyle brands. A lot of the brands that she worked with were family-friendly brands, kid-friendly brands. And she's over here trying to have like, not lingerie, but like she was trying to have an outfit that was kind of revealing. And I was kind of expressing my concerns to her about it, especially because I was paying for this with my money, flying them out, hotel, everything. And again, we're a team, so I have every right to express concerns and say what I think. She said to me, I'm not interested in your fashion advice. Please just stop. I will make my own decisions on what I want to wear. And I said to her, I'm trying to have a productive discussion here with you. It's not fashion advice, it's professional advice. And then she says, would you like to get on a call about it? And I said, what for? She's like, because you're not understanding that I'm asking you to stop. And I said to her, if you think that you're going to do whatever you want for this shoot that we are paying for without, it gets cut off here. But essentially what I was saying was, it's not right that we're literally paying for this and we have to have some say in this. So essentially, she's like, don't argue with me on this. And I tell her, I'm just telling you what I need done for the media shoot. And then she's like, well, considering you weren't even going to give me one at all, I don't think that it's true, and I think that it's just one of your power struggles. It's my media kit, not yours, so I will be choosing what to wear. So if we are paying for the entire thing at no cost to you, you can't leave me out of this without any say. Okay, and that doesn't mean you get to decide what I can and can't wear. And I said to her, I'm not saying that at all. Um, so again, it's supposed to be a team effort. I paid for her flight. Not only that, we had issues with the flight, and she had a temper tantrum about it. About it was a Spirit flight. I think the flight was delayed or canceled or something. And I said to her, I'm not sure we'll be able to reschedule. I mean, I'm not sure you'll be able to come because if they cancel the flight, the only other option is like a near $1,000 United flight that I will have to get for you and your girlfriend. She had a temper tantrum saying that basically demanding me to do that. It's my responsibility. I lost $800+ that night on top of the ticket from Spirit that I never got reimbursed for. And she's over here having the temper tantrum when I'm spending my own money, my own hard-earned commission, which, by the way, I gave half of my commission to all my clients. Half of it. Because I believed in them, because I wanted to support them. I saw it as an investment. Anyways, she had a temper tantrum. So I'm like, okay. Frustrated, it was stressed out. I booked the flight. And it cost a lot of money because I had to pay the photographer. I had to pay for hotel. I had to pay for food. I had to pay for multiple flights because the other ones got canceled. And on top of that, I had to pay for other clients that I was also covering their flights, hotels, transportation, food. And here she is saying that I have no say in anything. When I'm paying for all of it, I waived all of that. They didn't reimburse me for a dime. And I'm not asking for reimbursement because I did it out of the kindness of my heart, because I believed in them, because I was looking out for them, because I wanted them to succeed. And when I first started working with them, money was something that was relatively new to them. So those are some examples of how difficult it was to work with this person. Again, I don't feel great about sharing this, but it gives people an insight as far as what I dealt with. It's very unfortunate because early on, when I first met her, she was someone that was very unsure of herself. That's why her original podcast was called Unqualified, because she felt like she wasn't qualified to do something. She was never great at something. But I believed in her. I believed that she had a lot of potential. And I made a lot of sacrifices for her, sacrifices that to this day she does not know that I did. And it's very unfortunate because her insecurities got the best of her, and she took them out on me. She made it seem like I was against her. She turned everybody against me. She made up lies about me. And now my life is about to get exponentially worse in the coming weeks and months. I've been through a lot. I'm still dealing with a lot right now. I'm thousands of miles away from my family. And she's out there living life with no accountability, no responsibility. And I know that this video will be used at some point, possibly in some legal proceedings. But when you have nothing to lose, and when you have someone like her out there pretending like they're perfect, pretending like they've never done this, pretending like they're not only screwing me, but they're screwing other people, and when my family is at stake here, I have to speak up. My advice to her is that I encourage you to speak up regarding these text messages, because I'm sure she has her own story. I'm sure she has her own messages that make me look bad. Again, I'm not perfect. But I'm actually confronting them. I actually own up to them, to the mistakes that I've made. She has not done that. And when she has, it was insincere. There were a lot of good times that I had with her. A lot of good times. A lot of memorable times. But she has messed up my life. and I want to look at the camera right in the eye if she's seeing this. Soph, you will be held accountable. You need to own up to your mistakes, because this is just not going to go, this is not gonna go away. For as long as I'm around, I will fight for this. I will fight for people to know what you've done to me and to my family and to others. And if you want to follow up on this, I welcome it. But now this is on the internet for people to see. They have the text messages. They can make their own opinions of it. And that is how she's treated me. Soph Mosca treated me like a dog, treated me like I was subhuman. I remember when she was releasing her merch, I was obviously going to get the merch to support her. You would think that she would say, "Hey, Dylan, I know that, you're my manager. Let me hook you up with some merch." I was going to get it regardless. She never offered. I bought it with my own money. She didn't even make the gesture. If she had made the gesture to say, "Hey, Dylan, do you want some, what size do you want? What size hoodie do you want?" I would have still paid money because I wanted to show her that I supported her. She didn't do that. And when I did buy it, she was giving everybody these letters, these handwritten letters. Mine was the most generic one ever. There was no customization to it. At this point, I was working with her for a good amount of time. I still have the message. I still have the letter with me right now, actually. There was no effort to customize it for me. Nothing like, "Thanks for being a great manager," or "Thanks for being making me all this money," or whatever. Nothing. And I bought it with my own money. And if she had offered, I would have still paid for it. But just the gesture of it, she didn't do any of that. So I know she's going to therapy. I encourage her to take a deep look at what she's done to me, because she knows what she's done to me. She knows what she's doing to me. And that is all. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer it in the comment section. But this is a first look at what this person, or my interactions with this person and this individual, has had on me, and how I believe I was treated. And you can see it for yourself. Constantly trying to start arguments, constantly trying to get me to fall into her trap, so that it makes me look bad and it makes it look like I'm the one causing her distress. That is all. Thanks for watching. I will keep sharing my experiences. I will keep speaking out against these people. She's not the only one. And if she does see this, I challenge her to address this, because whether she addresses it or not, I'm still going to speak up for what I believe in until the day that she is in front of a judge and is held accountable. Because she's not going to apologize or take ownership for what she's done on her own. It needs to be done to her by a judge. Thank you.